Hey, good Wednesday morning, and thanks for checking out your latest long-range forecast. Michael Clark with BAM Weather. We're going to get into the discussion of a major cold front coming this weekend, more of an inactive pattern, if you will, the next couple of weeks before the heat returns, we think, in early September. It might get a little bit more active for a time, and then probably another big cold front mid to late September. So we're going to get into all the details today. We'll start with the most current, which is the soil moisture index percentile here, where, looking around the primary growing regions of the country, who's wet, who's dry, who needs rain, who doesn't. And there's obviously a couple of areas that stand out right now. Certainly that of Michigan, northern Indiana, and northwestern Ohio. Getting up here into New England, of course, and then portions of Nebraska, Kansas, the panhandles here, southwestern Iowa, where folks really need rain in terms of, just the intense dryness, or the immense dryness, if you will, here in the short term. It's quick to go short-term dry. It's quick to do when you have heat and humidity, evaporative transpiration rates as high as they are right now. It doesn't take much to zap the soil of moisture and get a crispy ground that turns brown quick. So these locations certainly need the rain, and where it's excessively wet, where you certainly don't need any moisture, can be seen through here. And then again, really, there are some locations down through here that are pretty wet overall for the most part. Okay, and you can kind of see this with the. In fact, I don't have an accumulation. What I was going to show you is an accumulation, but in the coming days, a big decrease in growing degree units in terms of the heat. So that'll be low. But one thing I do want to mention from a weather perspective is a lot of the crop touring going on right now, and crop being in a good stance, but it's a lot further along. It's accelerated, and the weather coming with what we've had with nighttime heat, humidity. I'm concerned about deterioration of the crop and the presence of disease being possible. I think while it may be good now, I'm concerned it doesn't get better. If anything, it can subside or decrease a little bit. And that's something to keep in mind, that the weather has not been super ideal, regardless of what we're seeing. That's just my 2 cents. The warm nighttime lows and the humidity and the moisture is not a super good combination. A lot of similarities to the year 2010. A lot of similarities, in fact. All right, so just something to keep in mind going forward. Out here this morning, current radar, it's quiet. There's not much going on at all. The rainfall forecast here, really over the next 3 days, there's not much going on at all in that regard either. There goes Hurricane Aaron up the East Coast. 3-day rainfall is rather lackluster, if you will. In fact, so is really the 7-day rainfall. There's really just not a lot of moisture to report. Southwestern Kansas, panhandles of Oklahoma, Texas will cash in on some rain, some needed rain down in that region. But anywhere in the primary growing regions, it's a quiet, much cooler period up and coming. All right. So what I want to do is show you our morning ag report and kind of give you an idea of just some quick takeaways. Week 1, we've got the big front coming through. We'll time that out in just a second. Week 2, it's much below normal temperatures. And again, you can see the percent of normal rainfall being well below the normal there in week 2. Again, with Aaron moving out and the front moving in, a lot of the energy is robbed, and the pattern becomes very inactive, if you will. Okay, I'm going to scroll down here and show you a couple things, and show you the precipitation forecast here in the chunks 1 to 5, 6 to 10, and the 11 to 15. Again, in the middle, the GFS products and the Canadian products try to bring back some moisture, some activity in the 11 to 15. The European on the bottom left is a little bit reluctant to do so. Nonetheless, the next 10 days, for the most part, with the exception of the southwestern third of the plains and the western, southwestern third of the country, is very inactive due to the big cold front. The 11 to 15, it's possible that another front works into this time frame and can bring some moisture with it behind another shot of potentially cooler air. Okay, And you can kind of see this in the week 2 changes on the GFS on the right. It's a little bit more suggestive with activity. This is a wetter change, all right, versus the European not quite on board with that just yet. Okay, temperature departures, the 6 to 10, the 11 to 15. Overall, it's all systems go, really. The next 15 days, especially in the primary growing regions of the U.S., are below normal temperatures. I don't think we're done with the heat, but in the short term, that's what we're dealing with right now. Again, I take you out. This is a 10-day look at rainfall from the latest GFS model, and again, not much going on in terms of rainfall. For those of you wondering on the big arrival of this front, the big arrival of when this comes in and when we're going to feel this, I think it's really Saturday night into Sunday. Northern Plains, it's more Friday night into Saturday. But this is the dew point temperature. You can see it just being knocked out completely, waking up Sunday. Dew point temperatures in the upper 40s, low 50s. Humidity's gone. And it's going to feel 50 to 60 degrees cooler. I mean, to some folks, it's just going to feel cold. All right, by Monday morning. And then into Tuesday morning, the dew point temperatures are in the upper 30s and low 40s in Minnesota and Iowa. That is interesting nonetheless. Luckily, I don't think temperatures are able to get too low into any type of, frost territory or anything like that. So just something to keep in mind in that regard over the next several days. But again, you can see the arrival of the front bringing in that much below normal air, and that fall-like feel certainly is on the table. As I go day by day, here's day 8, day 9, day 10, day 11. You can see what the AI version of the Euro is going to do. It tries to reload the cold, and that actually kind of lines up with a front in that time frame before a warm-up comes. I think there's a warm-up in store probably sometime September 5th through the 15th or so. Could be a pretty impressive warm-up. But following that, we're looking at the potential for another major front by the extended period. Okay, here's I kind of want to show you this. I want you to direct your attention to the Aleutian Islands right here. Okay, this is a ridge. This 591. This is the same ridge you would have over the central U.S. What I want you to note is it's prevalent here for a couple of days, 22nd, 23rd, and then it's knocked out. Big front comes right around the 26th. Okay, so what we would do is we would essentially add, let's call it 17 days when you look at this heat ridge. All right, and the lag is give or take. So if we went to 21, that's going to take us out to the 6th through the 12th of September for the return of heat, if we correlate that pattern there. Then the front comes through. That front probably right now is going to come through sometime around the 13th through the 16th of September, right? So you've got heat to start September probably again. Let's call it the 5th through the 10th for heat, and then you could call it the 10th to the 15th, just to keep it simple for a cold front, right? And probably a bigger one. What's interesting about the North Pacific pattern is watch what it does here. Not only does it bring that through, but it reloads with a bigger one, which tells me the middle and second half of September, there's another one, has the potential to be active and cooler with a couple of big cold fronts in the mix. Okay, we can go to our SOI, our Southern Oscillation Index, and indicate where fronts are going to be located. And you can see where the first big one was because we had a plus 10 SOI and we dropped to a minus 20. So that was a 30-point drop in the SOI. Okay, that was back on the 1st of August. We always correlate big SOI swings to 20 to 25-day lag times. So there's a big negative SOI drop, 30-point drop. That's the Southern Oscillation Index. Basically, that's the difference of surface pressure between Tahiti and Darwin. But it creates disturbances in fronts here in the lower 48 in North America. And so that's the front. That's August 25th. That's the front. It's dead nuts on. That's no question there. And then there's another one. We rose back quickly to 15, and then we dropped minus 15 again. So there's the second drop, right? That was on the 11th. We take that out 25 days. You have to remember August has 31 days. That's the next early front in late August, early September. But here's this interesting part. We shift into September here, and now negative SOI correlations in September actually equal warmth. So this is an indication of the warmth returning because we kind of keep it negative and we're still negative. That's out to September 10th, right there. Okay. So there is an indication that the warmth will come back once we see the SOI fluctuate again and the North Pacific pattern bringing the fronts in. The warmth will subside. But these are telltale signals. I mean, this is writings on the wall with these. Okay. It's a very cool way to look at that, right? Let's take a look real quick. You know what? I didn't mean to close that out. I meant to, I wanted to show you the long range forecast. Let's take a look real quick at weeks 3 and 4. Okay. And then we'll jump into just an early peek at what winter is doing, and we'll wrap this video up. But here's a look at the 3 and 4 week forecast. Again, I think this period is met with heat, but I think it ends with a big cold front. And we kind of tried to illustrate that. It's a 15-day average. It's tough to do, but you can see what I'm talking about here in that regard. I think there is significant warmth in here for a time in terms of September standards. I think that it's relatively inactive. Perhaps towards the end of this period, the 10th through the 15th, there's a storm in there that can offer up precipitation, but below normal precipitation is probably the takeaway for the time being. Okay. Real quick, winter models, winter data. Analogs are cold right now. All right. The calibrated probabilistic outcome for temperatures for winter, you're not seeing much above in there. That's saying something for the multi-model ensemble. There are a couple of members in here that want to resemble our winter product right now, and there are 3 of them. That's this NEMO data right here, where we're seeing this colder risk. That's this CCSM, where it's very similar as well. And then you have the CESM1, which is very cold. Okay, so we have models that are indicating the thought process that winter could be cold, certainly start cold too, with analogs like 01 and 2010. Those started very cold in December. We also have a cold analog package in 13 and 14. So some preliminary thoughts are a harsh cold winter may be dialed up here, but we'll keep you posted. Be sure to share this with a friend. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. We'll talk to you soon.